I started working on my analog horror game about a month ago, and I've made great progress, but it's not a horror game yet, there's nothing scary in it. So in this video, I'll add this cave level similar to the one I've made for my mascot horror video. The cave will be full of monsters, and you either have to look at them or not look at them, based on what type of monsters they are. I made an instructional VHS about how to defeat them. I won't play it now because it's boring. Oh, remember when I was stupid in the last video and couldn't make the skin lines slider work? Well, I managed to fix it thanks to you guys. Then I added this texture to my flashlight because it looks better with it, but I later had to remove it because it lowered the light intensity for some reason and you couldn't see shit. Remember when I made this totally unoptimized cave in my mascot horror game with thousands of physical polygons? Well, I realized I could have just used this button to create a less accurate collider, which is much better for performance. My CPU will probably thank me for this. I also modeled this ladder in Blender. Then I had to create this whole maze. This was the most boring part for me. I hate level design. But at least it's done now, it looks quite great from inside. I think I managed to create a decently scary atmosphere. This is how the full level looks from up here. Woo-woo, so scary, right? I'm nearing a heart attack while writing this script, I'm scared. Woo. Then I modeled this medieval door, it has stay out written on it in Hungarian. In the game's story, the player realizes there were people living here under this mine a few hundred years ago. This will be important later. Then I made this lock and chain model, but for some reason it's quite buggy in game. This is absolutely not how it's supposed to work. But now it's fixed and oh. Then I wrote a few lines of code so you can open the locks. Please don't judge my messy interaction system. I decide what to do with the interactable objects based on their group tag. Looks like the chains are not paired to the right locks, so let's fix this. Great. But you obviously shouldn't open these without finding the keys first, so I made a shitty key model in Blender. I also downloaded this material from cc0textures.com, but then I realized it's basically just a single color, so it was pointless. Anyway, I applied the texture, and here is my key. As you can see, if I don't have a key, I can't open the locks. But if I have the key, then we don't know what happens, because I can't pick it up for some reason. I don't know, let's try making the collider bigger. Great, but now I can open all three locks with the same key, but that's not what I want. Luckily, I only had to write one single line of code to fix this. And now I can open one, but not the other two.
And now let's make the monsters. And yeah, I have a different AI voice. I promise I'll use my real voice soon. There will be two types of monsters in this level. We'll make the first one in this video. It will patrol an area, and if it sees us, it will walk towards us. But only if we don't look at it. If you do, then it will just follow his regular path. As usual, I downloaded the animation from Mixamo. I also made 2 textures, but I think I'll use the first one. These monsters are deformed humans, by the way. This first type of monster is not that deformed. But there will be more extreme ones in the next video. Then I baked some nav mesh for my pathfinding system, and it turned out okay, even though I'm really bad at baking. I also started playing the first Silent Hill to get some inspiration. Yeah, compared to this, my game is a piece of shit, and not even PS1 style. My next one will be better, I promise. Anyway, let's see if my system is working or not. For some reason I'm not even surprised. Okay, now he's still moonwalking, but as you can see, he goes towards a given position, and when he reaches it, he goes towards another random one. Currently there are only 2 positions, so it's not that random. So now he's facing the right direction, but he's sliding a bit because he's too fast. Let's reduce his speed. Now it's much better. It's hard to see, because he's slow, but he's following me. And if I run away, he will give up and continue his patrolling. I also added this collider which checks if he's visible on screen or not, because I only want him to follow me when I'm not looking at him. And now comes the point where I mess something up, and spend hours trying to fix something. It's pretty frustrating. Sometimes when I ran the game, it froze like this. So I had to unpause the game around 50% of the time. I didn't even get an error message. Instead of trying to fix this, I made it so he follows me when I'm not looking at him, otherwise he'll just walk his usual path. But then the bug became even worse. If the game froze, and I unpaused it, then the pathfinding system bugged, and did this. He walks here, even though his target position is here. It shouldn't be physically possible. When I was thinking about giving up, I realized something. Oopsies, someone forgot to write a -1 here. Well, that's kinda awkward. But now it's working. I only had to give him a jump scare. Well, that wasn't that scary. I should probably turn up the volume and search for some other sound effect. Let's download this, and test it. Well, that wasn't that scary either. That's probably because it restarts the sound effect every frame. I only have to start the sound effect when it isn't playing already. Now that I'm scared for life and gave myself PTSD from Soviet soldiers, I finally have a working enemy in my game. In the next video, we'll add a second type of monster, which is basically the reverse of this one. If you look at him, you die. That's the really simple rule. You can also expect a tutorial about the enemy AI I wrote. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Bye.